Hello everyone, and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. When the dust settles on the bold and the beautiful, spoilers indicate Luna Nozawa will wish the cops had caught her. Instead, the pregnant jail escapee may end up in the clutches of one of her foes. Will Bill Spencer trick his son's baby mama into a life of captivity? Here's what's coming up next on Bold and Beautiful, with spoilers below. The CBS soap is on fire this week as Luna Nozawa, Lisa Yamada, escapes prison and runs for it. The LAPD and Spencer family head to the beach to look for the escaped prisoner in the dark. Luna has been on the run before, but the stakes are considerably higher now that she is pregnant with Will Spencer Jr.'s Crew Moro baby. Dollar Bill, Don Diamont, isn't going to sit back and let the cops shoot down the pregnant escapee, who is carrying his granddaughter. According to the Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Bill Spencer and Katie Logan, Heather Tom, were comfortable while Luna was in jail since they knew Will's baby was secure. But Luna can't be trusted with a Spencer bun in the oven, as she has proven. If she actually cared about her baby, why would she run down a rocky coastline on a misty night while cops pursued her? The Spencers are not going to let Loony Luna raise Will's baby. Will Bill embrace the opportunity and imprison Luna to keep the baby safe until she gives birth? Luna has always looked to Bill for assistance, even after it was discovered that he was not her biological father. If he sees her lurking on the beach, she won't think twice about joining him. In fact, she will likely believe he has had a change of heart and is rescuing her. Do you believe Bill will fake Luna's death or make it appear that she escaped so he can keep her under lock and key until she gives birth to the new Spencer heir? When Bill Spencer first saw Luna Noel Hayes, she was being pushed past him on a gurney, her wrists tied to the rails, and foreline hanging like a pendulum over her bulging tummy. 7 months pregnant, and he was presumably the father. Bill had spent the last 48 hours convincing himself that he felt nothing, that this was simply another complication in a life already overflowing with them. But the moment Luna's eyes, those wide, terrified hazel eyes, focused on his, something old and savage uncoiled inside his chest. She was afraid. Not of the deputies guarding her bed, nor of the murder accusations that awaited her the moment the baby was born and she was brought to county jail. She was afraid by him. Good, he thought. Fear was useful. Fear kept people in line. He waited until the floor was silent. The night shift nurses had ceased talking, and the overhead lights had dimmed to a sickly amber. Then he entered her room in the same navy suit he'd worn to his own son's funerals, since some occasions required armor. Luna was shocked as the door clicked shut behind him. "Mr. Spencer," she began, her voice soft. "Bill," he corrected, as soft as velvet on steel. "You are carrying my child, Luna. I believe we've moved beyond formalities." She pressed her back against the pillows, one palm reflexively curving over the hard dome of her stomach. "I did not kill anyone. You need to believe me. Tom Starr and Paul Hollis, it wasn't. I don't care who you killed," he continued, his candor surprising even him. "I only care that you're walking into a cage for the rest of your life the minute that baby is born, and my grandchild with you." Her lips moved with fear. "They won't let me keep the baby if I'm convicted." "No," the man replied. "They won't." He got closer. The monitors beeped steadily and calmly, unaware that a billionaire was about to cross a line he could never recover from. "I can get you out of here," he explained. "Tonight. But once you go with me, Luna, you will not leave again. Not ever. You will be safe. The infant will be safe. But you will belong to me. Do you understand?" She examined his face for a falsehood, but found none. Whatever else Bill Spencer was ruthless, vengeful, and half-mad with grief over all the children he'd already lost, he wasn't lying right now. Luna closed her eyes. A single tear trickled down her temple and into her hair. "Yes," she whispered. "Get me out." It took 90 seconds to uncuff her, another 40 seconds to remove the 4 from her arm and place gauze in the crook of her elbow. He'd paid off 2 orderlies, bribed a security guard, and disabled 3 cameras using a technology Steffi had once boasted her husband had built for corporate espionage purposes. The escape itself was almost comically simple. The difficult part was keeping Luna upright as they sped down the service stairs, her breath coming in terrified, tiny gasps, one hand gripping his arm and the other holding the weight that made every step agonizing. By the time they arrived at the subterranean garage, she was shaking so badly that he had to half-carry her into the waiting SUV. The driver never looked back. Bill had made certain of that. He took her to the mansion in the hills that no one knew he still owned, which he had purchased through a shell company after Katie had left him the last time. 10,000 square feet of glass and stone perched upon the city, like a hawk. There are no neighbors for half a mile. A gate that needed retinal scanning. A basement that no realtor had ever seen. He carried her over the threshold because her legs gave out just as they passed it. "You're home," he told her, the word tasting rusty in his teeth. The first week was almost relaxing. He had a doctor on call, a disgraced obstetrician who owed him more than just blood. He had a chef who prepared soft things Luna could consume. He had a nursery painted the palest sea glass green once the ultrasound technician confirmed it was a boy. Luna slept 18 hours every day, awoke crying from nightmares, and never requested to leave. She appeared to grasp, on an instinctual level, that the world outside would consume both her and the baby. But appreciation is flimsy, and dread has an expiration date. It happened on a night when the Santa Ana winds howled like wolves outside the home. Bill had been drinking not enough to go drunk, but enough to dull the edges. Luna sat on the side of the bed, wearing one of his white dress shirts, sleeves pushed to her elbows and belly pressed against the buttons. She was watching the news on muted television, and Deputy Chief Baker was holding another press conference, appealing for any information on the missing murder suspect, who was also 8 months pregnant. "I need to call my mom," she replied abruptly. "Only once. To tell her I'm still alive." Bill pressed his glass down harder than he intended.
"No. She believes I've died, Bill."
"Or worse."
"You have died," he said.
"That's the point." She stood up, swaying slightly, the shirt gaping open over the taut drum of her stomach. "You can't keep me here forever. I can keep you here as long as I damn well please." Something changed at her features. Fear hardened into rage. "You're not my jailer. I'm the only thing standing between you and a lethal injection, little girl." She made one step toward the door, then another. Bill moved far faster than a guy his age should have. He grabbed her wrist, fingers interlocking with room to spare. "Luna, don't." She jerked free with a force that surprised them both, possibly the last burst of adrenaline a body reserves for birthing and escape. She got halfway down the corridor before he tackled her. They fell down hard. She shouted, not in pain, but in primal horror, as his weight held her down. The shirt ripped along the shoulder seam. Her belly was a firm, uncompromising barrier between them. "Stop fighting me," he snarled through her hair. "You'll hurt the baby. Get off me." He rolled away, hands up, as if she were the threatening one. Luna scrambled backward till her spine hit the wall, knees pushed up as far as they could go, and both arms wrapped around her stomach. They stared at each other across a 6-foot-deep marble floor that could have been a canyon. "I'm sorry," he replied. The words felt strange. He couldn't recall the last time he'd said or meant them. Luna's laughter shattered like ice. "You kidnapped me. I saved you. You locked me in a basement for 3 days when I tried to use the phone. You were about to give yourself in, because I am innocent." The conflict ended abruptly for her. She sagged, her forehead falling on her knees, and began crying in that forlorn, hiccuping way that people do when they've run out of options. Bill crawled across the floor, nearly touching her but failing to do so.
"Luna," he said gently.
"Look at me."
She did.
Her face was blotchy, and her eyes puffy. "I have lost 3 sons," he informed her. 2 to the death. 1 to his personal loathing of me. I will not lose another. I cannot. Do you understand? I'm not doing this because I am cruel. I'm doing it because the alternative is a world where my child grows up visiting his mother through prison glass, and I can't survive that again. Her expression flickered with pity or recognition. Then the moment shattered. The security alarm started shrieking. Red lights strobed along the walls. On the door monitor, Bill watched a dozen LAPD cruisers speeding up the private road, their lights painting the night bloody. Before the lead automobile came to a complete halt, Deputy Chief Baker was already out of it, revolver drawn. They had found her. Bill's mind raced through contingency plans, panic room, helicopter pad, tunnel leading to the service road. But Luna had already moved. She pulled herself up against the wall, one hand braced against her lower back, and moved toward the front door like a woman heading into a fire. Luna, no. She did not glance back. He grabbed her on the threshold, arms around her from behind, attempting to pull her backward. She elbowed him hard in the ribs, twisting like a cat, and for one fleeting moment, they were both silhouetted in the doorway, the fugitive and the billionaire, bathed in a dozen police spotlights. Stop, Luna. Baker's voice echoed through the loudspeaker. Put your hands where we can see them. She reared them. Both hands were extended to the sky, the white shirt flapping in the rotor wash of the news helicopter that had appeared overhead. Bill released his hold. He felt each year of his age as the fight faded from him. Officers swarmed. Someone yelled for an ambulance. Someone else was reciting Luna's rights and wrapping her in a blanket. Baker knelt in front of her and gently cuffed her hands in front of her belly rather than behind her back. Are you hurt? Baker inquired. Has he hurt you? Luna stared past him at Bill, who stood still on the steps, his wrists already zip-tied behind him. Their gaze met over the tumult. No, she stated simply. He saved my life. She looked away, and they escorted her down the steps to the ambulance. Bill watched as they loaded her in. I watched the doors shut. I watched the caravan drive away, the red lights receding down the canyon road like dying embers. He did not object when they put him in the back of a cruiser. He didn't say anything when he was arrested for kidnapping, false imprisonment, and a dozen more counts that would keep him in jail until the infant could walk. But when they left him alone in the holding cell, he finally allowed himself to cry. Ridge Forrester stood outside the delivery room where Luna was being prepared for an emergency C-section. Stress had induced early labor. He had tears on his face and was holding his phone. He phoned a familiar number. Dad, he said as Bill picked up the prison phone. It is a boy. 8 pounds, 2 ounces. He's perfect, Bill said, closing his eyes. The receiver trembled against his eardrum. Tell her, he rasped. Tell Luna that the baby can have my name if she wants it. Tell her I apologize. Inform her that I am willing to sign all necessary documents. Just keep them secure, Ridge. Ridge peered through the nursery window at the tiny, red-faced newborn swaddled under a blue blanket, revealing a shock of black Spencer hair. I promise, he replied. Luna held her kid to her bosom in the recovery room while staring out the window at the pink and gold dawn breaking over Los Angeles. The ankle monitor that the court had equipped her with itched beneath the hospital robe, but it was so loose that she nearly forgot it was there. Almost. She brushed her lips to the baby's sweaty forehead. Your grandfather is complicated, she said. But he gave me you. Luna smiled for the first time in months when the baby yawned and curled his fist against her skin. Outside in the hallway, Deputy Chief Baker hung up the phone and took one deep, tired breath.
Case closed.
Sort of. Everyone had survived in a manner unique to Los Angeles. Barely. Luna's cell has consistently been quieter than the others. She was not like the other inmates, who filled the block with yelling, bargaining, and wrath. She held her condition with a peculiar combination of stillness and defiance, as if she were holding a fragile object that she refused to drop. Her stillness had recently become sharper. She was pregnant, and each breath she drew was sculpted by fear and determined determination. She hadn't told many people about the baby. To the majority, she provided only brief, clipped remarks. However, people who knew her tale understood that the pregnancy was more important to her than her own freedom. The guards made their normal checks in the morning while everything unfolded. Everything seemed well until a young cop discovered the open maintenance grate in the corridor. The steel mesh had been cut with great accuracy, a technique rarely seen within a prison unless someone had assistance or extreme patience. The alarm sounded seconds later. Stop, Luna, a guard yelled when he seen her running across the yard. Her name echoed through the air, bouncing from the concrete and chain-link fence. Officers grabbed radios and shouted her description into their headsets. Inmates rushed to their cell bars, celebrating, jeering, or issuing warnings. Luna did not look back. Her hair flowed behind her like a dark banner, and her arms pumped with desperate determination. She realized she had a limited amount of time. Each heartbeat seemed like a countdown. The commotion increased when the gate failed. Whether it was part of her plan or a stroke of fate, the mechanism jammed, forcing authorities to physically lift it. Luna ran through a hole in the service fence, her legs burning and her lungs throbbing. The world outside the cage felt enormous, blinding brightness, the smell of dust, and the sound of frenzied footfall approaching. Deputy Chief Baker was among the first on the scene. He wasn't the type of officer who got rattled easily. Decades of law enforcement had hardened him into a guy who communicated in short syllables and long pauses. However, he was taken aback when he saw Luna sprint across the broad field. For a brief time, he understood her fear, not only of being apprehended, but also of losing something she was striving to keep. "Do not run," Baker called out, knowing she would. She rushed toward the forest line, slipping slightly and clutching her stomach as if to stabilize herself. The unborn kid both slowed and fueled her. When she reached the first group of trees, she halted briefly to regain her breath before rushing deeper into the woods. Officers created search lines. Helicopters circled. Radios blared with information. Still, Luna glided by them as if she knew every route, ditch, and shadow. However, she wasn't alone in the woods. Bill Spencer's old home located on the extreme edge of the forest, a spot most locals avoided due to its solitude and Bill's erratic nature. He had a gift for concealing his emotions beneath a grin that was too serene to be comfortable. His reputation was not perfect, but he rarely brought attention to himself.
People muttered about him, however.
They said he could charm or scare you, depending on which version of himself he chose to be that day. When Luna staggered out of the trees and into his clearing, Bill knew her instantly. The last time he saw her was months ago, long before her arrest, when their lives had brushed past each other in ways neither really discussed.
He saw her large belly right away.
His brow arched, but he said nothing for a long time. "You're hurt," he finally admitted. "I'm fine," Luna explained. I need help." Her voice trembled, not from weakness, but from deep tiredness. Bill glanced at her, considering something unseen. His mind worked faster than she imagined. In that split-second choice, something dark emerged. There is a need. He never admitted this urgent yearning, even to himself. "You can stay here," he added. "But you do exactly what I say." Luna paused. She detected a shift in him, something tight and commanding. But she was caught between fear and optimism. She nodded and stepped inside the cabin. Everything changed as soon as the door closed.